Today, we expose 8 butter brands in the UK that you should think twice about before putting in your trolley. Listen closely in the next minute because many so-called butter products are actually oil blends, wrapped in harmful packaging chemicals, shrunk in size while prices rise, or dressed up with misleading labels that prey on your trust. Shoppers still believe their favourites are pure dairy, yet over 40% are fooled every week. This is about health, money, and the betrayal of a simple staple. Welcome to an urgent consumer warning. This is 8 butter brands you must avoid. Number 8. Kerrygold, the chemical packaging scandal. Kerrygold markets itself as premium Irish butter, grass-fed and chef-approved, wrapped in golden foil and tradition. The investigation finds a different picture. Independent testing found so-called forever chemicals known as PFAS in some foil wrappers. That means a brand sold as pure was packaged in material linked to serious health concerns. And while block butter is usually real cream, some spreadable lines have been diluted with rapeseed oil and artificial colouring to maintain a year-round look. Consumers pay a premium expecting safety and purity. Instead, they get packaging that can leach chemicals and spreadable products watered down with oils. Avoid Kerrygold if you want packaging transparency and unadulterated butter. Conclusion: a premium image but a damaged trust. Kerrygold, long the symbol of Irish purity, faced its own reckoning in 2023. Independent laboratory tests, commissioned after consumer complaints in the USA and Europe, detected PFAS chemicals in the brand's signature gold foil wrappers. These so-called forever chemicals are linked to cancer, hormone disruption, and immune problems. Regulators in California and New York responded by pulling Kerrygold from sale until the packaging could be replaced. Court documents later revealed that Ornua, Kerrygold's parent company, had received warnings about PFAS risks as early as 2018. Internal emails debated whether to admit the problem or quietly fix it before anyone noticed. Ornua chose silence until lawsuits and regulatory bans forced their hand. For years, customers paid a premium for butter wrapped in a toxic shell, believing every block was the essence of natural goodness. These are not just stories of corporate shortcuts, they are evidence of safety sacrificed for speed and profit. When a brand that claims purity is caught hiding contamination, the damage goes deeper than a recall. It erases confidence in every claim, every label, every promise of quality. For shoppers, the lesson is clear. Glossy packaging and heritage slogans mean nothing if what is inside can put your health at risk. Number 7. Country Life, the patriotic illusion. Country Life sells nostalgia, Union Jack packaging, and promises of British milk and tradition. The investigation reveals the spreadable variants often contain high levels of vegetable oil, sometimes approaching half of the tub, and in the past there were contamination recalls when plastic fragments were found. Ownership now sits with a multinational, so profits do not always return to local farmers. The branding plays on patriotism, while ingredients and corporate structure tell a different story. You are paying for a flag and a story, not always for superior quality. Avoid Country Life if you value food you can trust and want to support genuinely local supply chains. Country Life's patriotic packaging promised a slice of British tradition, but in 2008, that illusion shattered. Health and safety executive documents revealed a recall that pulled spreadable Country Life tubs from supermarket shelves. The cause was fragments of blue plastic traced to damaged machinery on the production line, slipping into batches undetected. Workers later described mounting pressure to keep lines moving, even as missing safeguards were flagged. For weeks, unsuspecting families spread contaminated butter on toast, never knowing what lurked inside the tub. The official recall notice warned of a choking hazard, but for many, the real shock was the breach of trust. Country Life's adverts clung to rolling green fields and British pride, while the reality inside the factory was anything but wholesome. Conclusion: patriotism sold, purity lost. Number 6. Anchor, half butter, half oil. Anchor promotes itself as farmer-owned and a dependable staple in British kitchens, yet the spreadable version is frequently a blend of real butter and significant amounts of rapeseed oil, and in recent years packaging sizes have been reduced while shelf prices have not fallen. That is shrinkflation in plain sight. For consumers, this means you pay the same or more for less real dairy, and the label can be confusing for those who assume spreadable means mostly butter. Avoid Anchor if you expect straightforward labeling and full butter content. Anchor followed a different playbook, but with the same results. The familiar 250-gram block shrank to 200 grams, while the price barely moved. Supermarket shelves relisted the smaller packs, and most shoppers hardly noticed the missing fifth until their money stopped stretching as far. Anchor spreadable tubs tell the same story, roughly half butter and half rapeseed oil, so about 50% of what is inside is not dairy at all. And yet the front label keeps the focus on farmer-owned and British milk, appealing to trust and tradition even as the product is diluted. That is nostalgia being used to hide supply chain shortcuts. These examples are not isolated. Shrinkflation and dilution are now common tactics across the aisle, letting brands protect margins while shoppers get less for more. The result is a butter section where trust is eroded, value becomes a moving target, and simple pantry choices suddenly feel risky. Next time you reach for a familiar tub or block, ask yourself how much of what you are paying for is actually butter. Conclusion: familiar name, but the contents may not match expectations. Number 5. Lurpak, the great butter dilution. Lurpak sells itself as a premium Danish butter loved by chefs and families. The investigation shows spreadable forms have been reformulated so that a large portion is vegetable oil and water rather than butter, yet marketing still emphasizes creamy taste and culinary pedigree. During cost of living pressures, prices rose while the actual butter percentage in some products fell. That combination of higher cost and lower dairy content is a double hit to consumers. Avoid Lurpak if you want a product that is mostly real butter and not a culinary compromise. Lurpak once stood for simple Danish butter, a trusted name on breakfast tables. But the supermarket shelf now tells a different story, and shoppers felt the shock in the summer of 2022 when a 1 kilogram tub of Lurpak spreadable soared to nearly £10. Headlines screamed, social media filled with photos of butter locked in security cases, and an everyday staple started to look like a luxury item. The company, Arla, blamed inflation and global dairy shortages, yet consumer watchdogs uncovered internal plans for price increases and smaller packs long before the crisis peaked. That gap between the public explanation and internal planning felt like a betrayal of trust. Beneath the silver and blue packaging, the product had changed in a way many people missed. Lurpak spreadable quietly fell to just 63% real butter. The remainder made up of rapeseed oil and water, blended to cut costs while the price tag climbed. This was not a small tweak. Consumers were paying more than ever for less actual butter, while the change sat hidden in the fine print. A brand once synonymous with quality had become a symbol of cost of living outrage, and shoppers reacted with disbelief and anger when they discovered they had been sold something else beneath a familiar name. The lesson was harsh and clear. Real quality had been diluted. Conclusion: chef-style branding, but diluted reality. Number 4. Flora, the shape-shifting spread. Flora has positioned itself in many ways, sometimes vegan, sometimes not, and often marketed as a healthier choice. The investigation finds frequent formula changes that leave consumers guessing, reliance on palm oil in certain versions, and marketing that can contradict the ingredient list. That creates confusion for families with dietary needs and for shoppers trying to make ethical choices about sourcing. Avoid Flora if you need consistent ingredients or want to avoid palm oil-related controversies. Flora has made recipe changes a regular headline. In 2019, Flora's parent company, Upfield, announced a move to fully vegan recipes. The backlash was immediate, with hundreds of customers and families upset by the sudden switch. Within months, the brand quietly reintroduced buttermilk to some variants and then changed course again. Investigations show a pattern of formula flipping that confuses shoppers. One day a tub is vegan, the next version lists dairy, then the dairy is removed again. Critics point to palm oil use and to marketing that does not always match the ingredient list. The result is uncertainty for people with allergies and frustration for loyal buyers who expect consistency. Why avoid Flora if you want predictability and transparency? This brand is a gamble. The spread shifts with the market and with brand strategy, leaving consumers guessing about what they are actually spreading on their toast. The only constant is inconsistency. Both brands illustrate a wider problem. Clever names and packaging can slip past regulators while still confusing people. When a label makes you do a double take, there is usually a reason. Treat packaging cues with suspicion, read ingredient lists closely, and remember that visual design can be a form of persuasion. Consumers deserve clarity, not tricks. Conclusion: Changing labels, unreliable promises. Number 3, I can't believe it's not butter because it is not. The brand projects a buttery image and familiar taste, but the investigation confirms this product is a margarine-style spread made predominantly from vegetable oils, emulsifiers, and additives. It contains no actual dairy butter, yet packaging and advertising often invite comparison to butter, encouraging consumers to assume they are getting the real thing. For those avoiding processed oils or additives, this is a clear mismatch. Avoid I can't believe it's not butter if you expect real butter in the tub. I can't believe it's not butter sits on the shelf with a wink and a promise, the taste of butter but lighter. The packaging pushes yellow tones and dairy-style cues, and the name does heavy lifting so busy shoppers grab and go. The brand claims buttery flavor and a lighter alternative, but the reality is very different. Investigations reveal there is no actual butter in these tubs. Inside is a blend of vegetable oils, water, emulsifiers, stabilizers, and artificial flavors. The ingredient list reads like margarine, including palm oil and colorings, while the tub looks like dairy. When challenged, the Advertising Standards Authority ruled that as long as the label states it is a spread, the name can remain. That technical compliance leaves a gap between what shoppers see and what they are actually buying. Why avoid it? Plain and simple, trust is at stake. Parents, elderly shoppers, and anyone in a hurry can be misled at the checkout. For consumers who expect real dairy, this product delivers no actual butter and a lot of marketing instead. Bottom line, a name that sounds like butter does not make it butter. Conclusion, imitation packaging, not dairy. Number 2, Utterly Butterly margarine with a mask. Utterly Butterly uses cheerful British branding and butter imagery to suggest wholesome dairy. The reality is a product made mostly from vegetable oils, colorings, and salt, labeled in a way that can mislead shoppers in a hurry. It appeals to nostalgia while delivering a highly processed spread. For households seeking real dairy fat and minimal processing, this product is a poor choice. Avoid Utterly Butterly if you want transparency and unprocessed ingredients. Utterly Butterly wraps itself in nostalgia, playful packaging, and a name that sounds buttery and British, and that charm convinces shoppers they are buying a familiar comfort. Investigation reveals the product is a margarine blend, mostly vegetable oils, artificial coloring, and salt, with no real dairy butter inside. A consumer survey in 2022 found 47% of shoppers believed Utterly Butterly contained real butter. Nearly half of people are misled by the name and the imagery, paying a premium for feelings of childhood and trust, rather than for actual dairy. This is packaging overpromise, and that is how nostalgia becomes a marketing trick. Avoid Utterly Butterly if you want honest labeling and real dairy. Conclusion, the name evokes butter, but the tub contains margarine. Conclusion, bright packaging, hidden oils. Number 1, Vitalite, the vegan butter look-alike. Vitalite positions itself as a plant-based alternative and mimics the appearance and marketing of real butter. The investigation shows heavy processing, dependence on palm oil in some formulations, and marketing designed to evoke buttery wholesomeness. While vegan choices are valid, the issue here is mimicry and processing. Consumers who assume Vitalite offers the same nutrient profile as dairy butter, or who are trying to avoid palm oil, may be surprised. Avoid Vitalite if your priority is simple, minimally processed butter, or if you want clear ingredient ethics. Next, Vitalite. Vitalite prides itself on a bright green label and bold vegan claims, promising a guilt-free, dairy-free alternative and a picture of sustainability on the shelf. But our investigation shows a different story. The maker, Upfield, in its 2022 progress report to the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, known as RSPO, admitted that Vitalite cannot fully trace all the palm oil in its supply chain. Instead, the brand uses a mass balance system that mixes certified and uncertified oil, and the company acknowledges not every tub can guarantee oil from sustainable sources. Environmental groups warn this opens the door to deforestation, labor abuses, and greenwashing. In short, Vitalite markets itself as sustainable and ethical, while its ingredients are heavily palm oil dependent and not fully traceable. If you care about real sustainability and transparent sourcing, avoid Vitalite. Conclusion, Vitalite sells a vegan image, but the traceability is insufficient. Conclusion, vegan by design, but not always what you expect. Subscribe to Consumer Alerts, check labels, and demand transparency. Your health and your wallet deserve no less. Thank you for listening.